what's up everybody out there in learning land? Tyler from TenthumbsPro.com coming at you the new ukulele tutorial like we do every single Wednesday and Saturday. So if you like this kind of content, make sure you hit subscribe, ring the bell so you never miss a lesson. Today we're doing the blues, and more specifically, we are doing the Delta blues. Now we have done some lessons on Delta blues turnarounds. We have done some songs from Delta blues legends like Robert Johnson, but this is a whole overview of this particular style of blues music. Printable tabs by becoming a Patreon. You'll see a link to Patreon up here in the notes. Also in the notes and the description, you'll see other links that are related to this video that will help, like extra turnarounds and some extra goodies, so you can take this lesson to the next level. So grab your ukulele. I'll be playing a low G and a high G. They both sound great with this style. Once you do that, also grab your brain and your attention span. Once you have those 3 or 4 things, follow me on in and let's break it down. Come on in. Okay, I'm going to put the chord shapes up. There's a lot of different chord shapes that we're going to be using throughout this, and these are just good chord shapes that you're going to want to know if you're playing any type of blues in the key of G. We have our G7 here, open, 2, 1, 2, C7, 0, 0, 0, 1, and our D7, which moves that shape up 2 frets, 2, 2, 2, 3. If you can't bar anything, you could play a substitute for that shape like 2, 0, 2, 3. This particular shape though actually doesn't have a D note. It's a D7 without a D. So let's get into some more complicated, more intermediate and pre-intermediate shapes. Here's another G7. This is based on the E7 and it is 4, 5, 3, 5. Okay, up here we also have this C7. Bar that 3rd fret and get your middle finger on the 4th fret of the C. You move that up 2 frets, it becomes a D7 as well. Right here in this area we have this pretty unique looking G7. I'm sorry, it's backwards. 0, 5, 7, 5. Keep on moving up, bar the 7th fret, and then you play the 8th fret here, and that is another G7 shape. Okay, so those are the chords we're going to use, but those chords are kind of how you build around this sound, the rhythm. The most important part is this monobase that sounds like this. I know that seems crazy simple, but believe it or not, this is the foundation of this. And you're getting the bass to play on the 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a G note, so this would be our G chord. Now, if I were to change my low G for a high G, I would get this sound. So because that's a little thin, I actually palm mute less. When I play with the open G. With the low G, I get a little more of a palm muted sound. And what I'm doing there is I'm letting the flesh here make contact with the low G string. So instead of making this sound, I get this sound. So that would be, believe it or not, the G chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. The C chord would just be this C bass here. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you don't like that palm muting sound, or if it's too tricky for you, feel free just to do it like normal. I'm just making just a little contact again with the flesh of my hand right here. Okay, right there. If you move it further back, it disappears. If you move it further forward, it becomes more muted. And then the D bass, 2nd fret of the C, 1, 2, 3, 4. And those are my chords, and that's my rhythm. So what we do is we build off of these using scales, chords, chord shapes, and chord tones. Now, with the blues, you are using 3 scales. You're using the major pentatonic, the minor pentatonic, and the blues scale. The difference between the minor pentatonic and the blues scale is just 1 extra note. And the minor pentatonic is the more prevalent scale. So let's look at that one first. We'll be on the G string, 0, 3, which is the root then your flat third or your minor third interval, the C string O2, which is your fourth and your fifth, and then you go down first fret, third fret, your flat seventh interval, your octave, then your A string, first and third fret, and here again you have the minor third and the fifth interval. O3, O2, 1, 3, 1, 3. So get comfortable with that, because that's what we're going to use to turn into a rhythm, okay? Now, over the one chord, meaning over the G7, you can also use the major scale. The major scale looks like this. O, 2, 4. This is the major pentatonic as well. I need to clarify that. Not the major scale. The major pentatonic is the major scale without the fourth and the seventh interval. So you get root, second fret, second interval as well. Fourth fret, this is your major third interval. So you see the other one had the minor. The other one had the minor, right? So we have the major now, major third. We don't play the C because that's the fourth interval. So we go right to the fifth fret, which is our fifth interval. We drop down to the E string. We don't play the first fret. We play open because it's the sixth interval. Third fret back to the roof. Back to the root. Then we get to the A string and we play the open A string and the second fret, which is our major third. So put it together, we get O, 2, 4, 2, O, 3, O, 2. Okay, now that would be the major pentatonic scale. So let's bring up the first measure. What we're doing here is we're playing the open G on the first beat. Then we're going to play the open G and the third fret of the E string. Now this would be the advantage to the low G. Another advantage you get with this style is here we have an octave. If I'm playing this style Delta blues with my high G, it's the same note. So you don't get quite that thunder. A little bit with the mute, but it's not quite the same power. So we're going to pinch them both at the same time on the second beat. Then we're going to grab with our index finger the first fret of the A string on the off beat, and then back to O3, and then the open G on the fourth beat. So really slow, we get 1, 2, and 3, 4. And that's the rhythm that we get as opposed to something like we've been playing in the past with strummer blues like this. In the past, we've been playing something like this. And what we did is we replaced this with that new rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they just switch. That's all we're doing. And this is the Delta style rhythm. That's what makes it unique, and that's what makes it sound very cool. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 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 And you could play that if you wanted to anywhere there's a G7. So let's review really quick if you don't know the blues structure. Let's put it up. The first four measures are G7. Then the next, bars 5 and 6 would be C7. This is your 4 chord. Bar 7 and 8 back to G7, which would be our 1 chord. Then the turnaround goes D7 on bar 9, C7 on 10, G7 on 11, and then D7 for 12. Okay, sometimes that doesn't happen right on the change. You'll see that there's going to be a little mixing of the bars on that one when we get there. But that's the general outline. So that's what we're working with. We can use that G7 rhythm that we just did anywhere there's a G. But another thing that's pretty cool about the Delta rhythm is it kind of always evolves and changes a little bit. So what I'm doing here is I am using the G minor pentatonic against that drone that we did earlier to create these rhythms. The next measure is going to sound like this. Really, really cool. So I start off on the 1 beat and I play my open G and I hammer on the 2nd fret. On On the offbeat, I grab the first fret of the E, and then it's third fret of the E and the open G on the second beat. First fret again, back to 3 and 0, and then the open G. You're starting to see that it's pretty important that you're able to do this, right? So one thing that you can do when you're sitting around on the couch, or you're just kind of in between jams, or you're doing whatever, you can practice that. Just so you get super comfortable and super confident with it, because you want to be able to do that almost like it's independently and have this finger have its own mind. So we get, let's move to the third measure. We're going to hammer on first to 3. This is the F note, which makes a G, a G7. So by highlighting this F note, it gives our G chord a certain level of blues sound, which is really nice. So as you're kind of constructing these ideas, 2 notes to keep in mind are this F note and the difference between this B flat and the B. This is a G chord. This is a G minor. The difference is the B and the B flat. So when you're using the minor pentatonic scale, you can play with that as well. We'll take a look at that a little later. So we hammer on 1 to 3, then we play the 1 on the offbeat, and then we play the O2 again, and then the 2 times. So with this one we get 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. And that second fret is the D note that's in a G chord, in a G7, in a G minor. This is the 5th interval. Very, very safe. A nice harmony to have. All right, the fourth measure, we're going to add triplets. Now, if any one of these particular measures is too hard for you, remember that these are all just ideas that you can play over the G7, and you can remove one, replace one, move them around. They're all interchangeable because they're all just on top of this monobase. And this 1, 2, 3, 4 is the foundation for anything that's happening anywhere there's a G7. Everything else I'm doing, I'm just creating, but you can do whatever you want with that minor scale over this sound, okay? So in this one, we're going to do triplets, and we're going to get, okay, so I'm playing O2, and I go, O2, first fret, third fret, up to the A, and then I play the A and the G at the same time. Triple it 1, triple it 1, triple it 1, triple it 1. And I get there, I play the G on the offbeat, then back to the O1 on the third beat, 3, then I hammer back 1 to 3 on the fourth beat. This is a G note. It's a good way to resolve these ideas, meaning finish all these ideas. So really slow. Triple a 1, well, triple a 2 and 3, 4. Triple a 2 and 3, 4. Triple a 2 and 3, 4. So let's play through those 4 measures together. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 pull a 2 and 3, 4. One time without counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very, very cool. And then we would bring up the next 4 measures. So this marks the halfway point of your blues. This is bars 5, 6, 7, and 8. 5 and 6 are over the C7. And again, our C7 is just a monobase with a C note. And we're doing the same thing. We're using the same scale, the G minor pentatonic, and our C note to create ideas over the C. So I'm thinking about, within the scale, what notes in that scale sound good with my C chord, right? So remember, it's a C7. So we have a G note. So our G notes are going to sound great over it. We have this B flat note in there. So that's going to sound great. And the C note is also in there, and that's going to sound great too, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to play open C in the 3rd fret, first fret to the open C in the third fret, first fret, open C. So really slow. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. And take it nice and slow like that, because for the C7 in this particular piece, that is actually both of bars 5 and 6. 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Then we get into bars 7 and 8. So for bars 7 and 8, I got a little crazy. Okay, I went a little cray-cray. I got a little loco in the cabeza. Ya hice unas cosas más extremos porque tenía ganas de tocar como un animal. So what I did here was I played some harder stuff. If this is just over your head, but you're enjoying this lesson, feel free to either skip these and you can arrange the 12 bars with the first measures from 1, 2, 3, or 4. You pick any 1, 2, 3, or 4, and you replace these two measures. If you're ready for the challenge, let's jump in. First measure sounds like this. Not too difficult, actually. So we're playing the 7th fret of the E string and the open G, 5th fret, 7th fret, 1 and 2, up to the 10th fret, which is marked by a dot on most ukuleles. These dots are like mile markers. They help you navigate when you're further up the fretboard. That's what they're there for. 10, 8 on the offbeat, back to 10. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Okay, not too difficult. It's this next measure that's going to be tricky. The next measure sounds like this. So what I'm doing here is I'm sliding from the 4th fret to the 6th fret while hitting the G string. Then with my index finger, grabbing the 5th fret. This all comes from this G minor chord. Now we're not playing a G minor, we're playing a G7, but this note is in our G minor pentatonic. So I'm gonna go 1 and then once I'm in position, I'm gonna do triplets in a double stop form. This was very, very common in this style of music, okay? Both triplets, the timing triplets, and double stops, meaning you're playing 2 notes at the same time instead of 1 against the bass. A total of 3, but 2 notes on the higher end, 2 notes in the treble. So I'm playing that double stop 3 times. 1 pola, 1 pola, 1 pola, 1 and 2 pola, 1 and 2 pola, 1 and 2 pola. That's that next piece and it sounds great. We're going to hammer on from 6 to 7. And this is the difference between G minor and G major. And playing on that difference between G minor and G major, specifically playing between the major third interval and the minor third interval, is very, very common in the Delta blues as well. Really all types of blues as well. But using it in a rhythm was very, very Delta. So we hammer on 6 to 7 with the low G, with that G note. Then I grab the 5th fret on the offbeat with my index finger. And then down to the 7th fret here, which is a G note, and the low G string. 3 and 4, 3 and 4. Put it together, you get 1 and 2 pola, 3 and 4. Really cool. Very, very cool. All right. So last 4 measures, this is what's known as the turnaround. Welcome to the turnaround. These are measures 9, 10, 11, and 12. D7, C7, G7, D7. Okay, so here we're doing an arpeggio. An arpeggio is when you play these notes independently. The D7 chord has the notes D, F sharp, A, C. So what we're doing is we're playing them like this. D, F sharp, A, C. But we're going to hammer home this kind of bass rhythm idea still, and we're going to do something like this. 2-2. The D and the F sharp at the same time. Then the F sharp again on the offbeat. 1 and 2. Then you'll get your pinky on the 5th fret of the E string and play again your bass on the 2nd beat. 1 and 2 and on the offbeat again. Down to the 3rd fret. Hitting that bass on the 3rd fret and again the 3rd fret. Or the 3rd fret of the A string on the 3rd beat. So you get 1 and 2 and 3 and you'll hit it again. And then you'll play the octave 2 and 5 on the 4th beat. 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And if you know how to transpose music and you know how to move scales and chords, you know if we do the same idea down 2 frets, it becomes the C chord. O, open E. O3, 3rd fret of the E. Open 1st fret of the A, 1st fret. Open in the 3rd fret, our octave. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Those two together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right? Turn around, the actual turnaround riff, the last 2 measures. Last 2 sound like this. The turnaround's really, really important, adds a lot of pizzazz. You can also use it as an intro for your song as well. Open G string on the 1st beat, index finger on the 2nd fret, ring finger on the 2nd fret, and you're gonna play triplets. Do, 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 using my thumb and my index finger. Move it down a half step, meaning right here. Take your fingers off. And now we are on the 1st beat of the 12th measure, where we hammer 3 to 4. And this is that same dynamic between the minor and the major, B flat, B, to the open G. So just so there you get 1, 2 pola, 3 pola, 4 pola, 1 pola. Then on the 2nd beat, you're going to mute it, and you're going to make a D sharp 7, which is barring the 6th fret with your middle finger on the 7th fret of the C. 2 and 3. So you strum up on this chord, move it down a half step, which makes it a D7 now, and you'll strum that on the 3rd beat and let it ring. 2 and 3, 4, and then you're in the top. So just the last half of this. 1, 2 pola, 3 pola, 4 pola, 1 pola, 2 and 3, 4. And then you're in the top. So those are all the pieces. You should practice them all individually, get really comfortable with all of them, feel good with the bass, and then let's put this whole thing together from the top. It's a little tricky for me to count the entire 12 bars out loud because sometimes I make a slight mistake, then I have to start all over. You should be counting all these pieces out loud individually, but once you're ready to play it, you can either count it out loud or you don't have to. I'm not going to, so we're just going to take it from the top. But trust that we've practiced each of these pieces individually, and I have counted each of these pieces individually out to make sure my timing is right. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Four. And then you're in the top, folks. Delta Blues. Hope you dig it. Tenthumbs Pro, baby. And that's the whole piece, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Delta Blues. You got it. That's the masterclass. Welcome to it. Make these riffs your own. That's the next step. Go through, practice that Monobase, make these riffs your own, and create your own little rhythm and your own unique style of the Delta Blues. Also, make sure to check out the Crossroads Challenge. It's 10 days, 10 blues lessons that are dedicated to the style of Robert Johnson that will improve your style playing with this type of music. We also have songs by Robert Johnson, Delta Blues turnarounds, and all kinds of other things. So check the links in the notes. Check them in the description. Have a lovely day. Take care. Excellent, everyone. Thank you so much for watching to the very end of the tutorial. Here at Tenthumbspro.com, we appreciate your support. We appreciate you learning with us, and we appreciate you subscribing and hitting that bell. We also appreciate you thinking about becoming a Patreon. The tabs will accelerate your learning, cheaper than a cheap cheeseburger, and all of that goes right back into what we do here to make it more expansive and better than ever. Until next time, keep on rocking and rolling, keep on loving life, keep on jamming. It's all good, my friends. Take care of yourselves. Tenthumbspro.com. Rock and roll. Have a lovely day.